Okay, so we are right back into another Dragon Ball Super card game video. In this one, I am not alone. We have one of our own, Devon Sama, in the video. Hey, how you doing there? What's up?
Hello. How are you? How's it going?
I'm good. We are here to talk about your undefeated in Swiss Pan deck, who went 6-0 in these celebrations.
That's right.
Wow. In Chicago, that literally just happened. By the time that this is back up, it's probably about a day or two ago, but still really good to kind of reflect on the concept of Pan. And I kind of talked about this, and we'll talk about it a little bit later on. And I might even plan to do a video. I didn't tell you, Devon. Did not tell you that I might do a video of why Pan can't win an event. She can top an event, but she can't win an event, and there's a lot of factors to that, and maybe you can even help me with that. That actually,
yeah.
But okay, well, before we do anything else, this is the deck itself, right? And again, undefeated in Swiss. Went against who did you go? Marcus, right? You went against Marcus in the Super Shenron.
Yeah, I went against Marcus Kentarsi from Shenron's Lair. Shout out to him.
Great player.
Went against him in top 16. Great player. It was tough. It was really tough. We'll get into it in a bit, but
okay, yeah, definitely. So let's go into the deck itself, so that way we can kind of see it, and that way we can kind of explain it. But for this, you know, it looks pretty standard, right? It looks like an updated Pan deck, and there's a lot of minute things I feel like that make this really good, and a couple questions that I would like to kind of ask you that I'll kind of spring on you. But if you'd like, you can go ahead and go through all the deck from card to card, or just in kind of a summary, whatever you feel comfortable with.
All right. So obviously the one drop Trunks at 4, just for the chain Zeno, and also just for the early aggression.
Did you want to explain Pan just for people who are not familiar with her for some reason? Yeah.
So if you don't know by now, Pan leader, her effect is once per turn auto. When you play a battle card, if that battle card that battle card gets plus 5,000, and then if that card gets to 20,000 or more, you draw a card. And then on the backside, you untap 2 and same effect, but you draw a card.
Yes.
When you swing. Yeah.
And then of course she flips 2 to active. One of the first leaders in set 3.
Set 3.
Yeah, set 3 who did that. And at first, by the way, as the format was changing, which is another video that I really need to do, the evolution of untap 2 leaders from draw 2. I think that's actually really interesting. But one of the first ones, a lot of people didn't like it, but now with Pan, especially back then in set 3, really valuable in order to untap 2. But as you were saying, which is kind of relevant, intensifying power Trunks for chain attack and as well as awakening, right?
Yeah, so it's one of your awakening tools. Also in the Janemba matchup, it's really good because it provides a lot of pressure early game. Most of your deck's gonna be very good for pressuring early game against Janemba because all your stuff early game is 20k, and they usually only have 10ks in their deck. So you make them at least waste a card each time, and so when they have to use one of those 10k combos early, that's one less resource that they have in the later game after you chain Zeno them. So yeah,
and I'm guessing same concept for everybody's pal and all the other 15ks.
Yeah, it's the same thing for all the rest of the 15ks. The only thing is like the intensifying Trunks doesn't get the draw, but it already evens out whenever you swing with it because you take a life. Basically, what this deck is just any battle card you play should equal out itself in a card. So every battle card equals a card back. Whereas, except for Yamcha, because speaking of which, yeah. So for Yamcha, because it tutors to most of your deck, even your super combos. And when you play it, it gets the +5 from pan, so it draws, and then when you swing, you can look at the top 3 and take an Earthling. So you +1 whenever you use this card, and people do not want to leave this on the field. I don't know how many times I've had it where instead of people tried to take my life and try and kill me, they've tried to clear these things off the board, and it helped me so much. So yeah, it's that card's Yamcha's just so good. I personally, because I love red so much, I personally feel like it's a better version of Goten. Don't at me. Okay. But because it looks at top 3, it takes an Earthling, which is most of your deck, and then you shuffle. Shuffling, I feel like, is much better than putting them at the bottom of your deck, because you can then change up what you're gonna get next, rather than just like putting stuff at the bottom and then going from there.
Yeah, because you wouldn't be able to see it unless you do shuffle a deck later.
Right. So yeah, I love that card. It's the MVP of the deck in my opinion.
A lot of good targets with the super combo, burst attack, chain attack, obviously, the time patrol and fearless pan. So all really good targets. All right.
Yeah. So next, I go with 4 Bulma over Master Roshi, because most of the time, you're gonna be at 4 very easily, especially with how aggro the format is. You're gonna get to 4, regardless if you do it yourself or your opponent does it. You're gonna get to 4. It's also an Earthling, so you can get it off. You can search it off of Yamcha. And you don't want to. I feel like you shouldn't run Roshi just because most of the time you're going to run Overwhelm in your deck, and you don't want that to to clash each other. Yeah. In that sense, so you wouldn't want to not be able to use your super combos. So that's bad.
And just to kind of jump around, because of everybody's pal Yamcha, and because of the Overwhelm, I'm guessing you're using time patrol over the Kai for that.
Yes.
Right?
Yeah.
Okay. Cool.
Because it's searchable. So. Yeah. So 2 Legic. This is. I like this card because it's good against decks that like to put out, or like if you're on the play, or if you're on the draw, and they play a 1-drop like where it's like vanilla Goku or Janemba, where they put out the 1-drop Psyche Demon. You can just get a free play draw card, and you get a 15k blocker on the field early. And then you can also still go into your 1-drop trunks and plus another card for yourself, which is really good.
Right.
But you only want to run 2. You don't want to run more than that, because then it's just useless. It doesn't do much other than that. So like if you're on the play, and most of the time they swing at you, and you want to get your double shot Vegeta out, so then this card becomes useless, and you just charge it, or you combo with it later. So yeah, so only 2 is my thing.
Makes sense.
I just recently made this addition into the deck. I think this weekend actually. Burst Attack Gohan at 3. After last week, or after Charlotte, I saw that Slug got top 4, and I was like, man, people are probably going to start doing more hand control stuff. And before this, I didn't run Burst Attack because there was not any real like hand destruction that I was really worried about.
What were you running before? The Building Unleash?
Before this, I was running 2 Saiyan Kaba in the main, and I was running Quick Rush Trunkses as well.
Oh, okay.
And yeah, so I was doing more like crit and like aggro stuff. But seeing as like hand destruction was coming back, and I tested against my friend, and he plays Slug and he likes Slug a lot, I was noticing that I just could not catch back up sometimes, and so I needed a way to catch back up in cards.
Right.
So this was definitely, I think, a good addition. It helped me a lot in some games, because having the combo out all the way, and then having this card to refill my hand back up alongside like time patrol trunk was amazing.
Right. And just so that's really good. And just in case, I'm just gonna, like I said, jump around a little bit, because some of these obviously are very much pan staples, right? As I like to call them. So the double shot Vegeta, which I'll get back to in a second. Obviously, you can play in your turn on their turn, and then defend
and draw a card,
and as well as draw right after, right? And then the Digging Deep is really good because you get 2 swings that are technically 25k if you play it, and then Awaken and draw 2 cards. That was really good. If anybody ever missed the stream, I do believe that you're doing that a couple times on the stream, which is really good. And then Fearless Pan, with all the other stuff that is on the field, especially if they don't play removal or don't remove it, with the critical, the Digging Deep, the double shot that they're technically free or 1 cost, and then the Intensifying Power Trunks, etc., are really good as well. Well, my question is with the new Vegeta, and as well as the this one, if they have like barrier or something like that, right? Swinging, yep, this one right here. How many times did you play in, and what was it? Was it useful, basically?
The Agent of Destruction one, or the
Agent of Destruction.
Yeah. So it actually won me a couple games. Okay. Like really, like it was really good because it's good because it's a 20k for 3. That comes out and it's a 25. And so so this weekend, I think for teams, I was running my deck that I had been messing around with for a bit. And it was I had 3 quick thinking trunk or go tanks in the main for more blue, and it was also an Earthling target, so I can get it off of Yamcha.
Yeah.
However, after playing it and dealing with that, it usually either was charged or it was comboed away because I didn't get too much times to use it.
Okay.
Because it's usually you mostly just play it for you play it off chain attack so that you can get a draw off playing it, and then you can draw when you swing, and it's a critical. But I took it out because it just wasn't doing a lot for me. And then if I wanted to give Vegeta's effect, I could just charge a Zeno. If I had like a dead Zeno in my hand. So, but yeah, that card actually won me a couple games because they just left it on the field and I just charged the Zeno and I just swung out with it.
Yeah, and
it was really good.
For those playing Pan before and haven't really taken a look at set 6, this one is that you play it for 3, obviously, and you get it the draw, and it's 25k if you do play the first, or as a first card. And then it says when you play the card, you KO something 25,000 or less, which is a huge range, by the way. And then the activate main, just like you were saying, if you charge a Zeno, it's 1 blue, 1 colorless. If your leader card is red, this gains 10k double strike.
10k double strike dual attack, which is insane.
Yeah, so 30,000. And if you have the energy, I guess 35,000.
Yeah.
and then double strike dual attack, which is just that is a lot of pressure.
It is nasty. I kid you not. I didn't even I would play it, and it was I played against I think a Rolly guy, or it was against somebody in teams I think, and he bloodlusted this thing so quick. I didn't even get a chance to say that I was gonna pop anything or say response. He put it down so fast.
Oh yeah, no one wants to deal with this, man.
Yeah, it's so this card is so gross. However, you don't want that many of it. So 2 is fine because you see it enough, and it's so situational that you don't want it to fill your hand up.
Yeah, I think Pan lacks the actions per turn, which is another reason why I wanted to go into the video of why it can't win an event. But as the game goes on, especially after a Zeno reset, she can do a lot, and I think 3 energy is kind of a lot. You're kind of investing a lot into 1 card when you pay 3 energy, so I can definitely understand that.
Yeah.
So that's good. My other question, obviously, we have the foreseeing hit. You can come back to that if you like. Is the Frieza's Army Reborn? Have you played that card, and has it actually got some use?
It won me, I think, 2 or 3 games at the event.
Oh, interesting. Okay.
It won me my last game to go undefeated.
Okay.
In Swiss fully. I was playing against Vanilla Goku, and it was the blue version. and I chain Zenoed him and reset the board and the game state and everything. And afterwards, we weren't doing a whole lot because he couldn't find his pieces and I couldn't find my pieces. And so we were literally just, I think, charge, swinging, and passing for like a couple turns until I got to 8 energy and I drew this card. And I think
hardcasted it?
Yeah, the turn before. So the turn before, I think I took 1 damage because he played his 3-drop Great Sandman instead of playing the Demigra SCR that was in his hand. I don't know why, and he even said he didn't know why, because I guess he said he was scared of the negate in my hand, because I did have it, but he didn't know that I had it, and he wasn't sure. And so no, I didn't draw it. I had the Freeze Reborn in my hand, and I took that damage so quick, and because I knew I was gonna play it next turn. Yeah. And so when he passed, I took whatever card I took, and I think I just charged it immediately. And I tapped the 5, played it, and he pretty much said it was just game. Because I saw his hand, and I looked at how much he could combo. And I mean, it's a 45k quadruple strike, and it clears the entire board.
And you can take a negate if they have one, of course.
Yeah, you can take a negate, but he didn't have any negates. He just had like 2 Sensu Beans, 2 10Ks, and then some like 5K combos. And he was pretty much tapped out. Yeah. So I just took his Demigra SCR, and then I just swung for game, and it was over. But yeah, that game, and then I played against the Pan Mirror in my first round, and he dropped it on me, and I lost to it, and then I dropped it on him the next game.
That's very appropriate.
Yeah.
Okay, and we'll definitely go through the matchup. So that's good. I'm glad that these recent secrets, and I'm sure if you've seen it, have been actually useful. You know, the Boo one, this one, and as well as the Broly one, have all actually either won games or done good damage, basically, and I'm very happy about that.
Yeah.
So the other question I had, so obviously we have the Time Patrol Trunks is searchable by Yamcha. Look at the top 2, and then you can draw right after, or vice versa, which is good. And then one size is food by 1 instead of 2.
So I added this in yesterday, or not? Well, not yesterday, but Saturday night for the event. It's good because you usually want to Time Patrol Trunks early, and then later on you fill up your drop with, like, you know, after they're like you combo or you or they start killing your board a little bit. So this is a good card to play later game because it refills your hand. It gets a +5, and it's for 1. Like, it's a double striker for 1. That gives you 2 cards, essentially 3, and you can still play your other threats on the board as well.
Right.
So it's just usually what I was doing with this card, and it won me a few games as well. I would play. I think I would have another card on board. I would chain attack into Fearless, and then swing out with all that. Make them waste their hand and their negates, and then I'd still have at least 1 or 2 energy open, and then I'd scientist for them and go for game because they wouldn't expect it, because nobody expects to have for someone to have a Fu in their deck as a Pan player, really. So so it won me quite a few games off of that.
That's good.
I liked it. It was also for like slug decks and like hand destruction decks because it redraws or gives you more cards in your hand.
Yeah, definitely. Okay, so that's good. I was gonna ask about. Well, I would ask about Yamcha 100%. So not in the sideboard or main. Do you feel like he's not needed anymore?
He's not. I don't like that card. It's in theory it's a good card, but bursting for 5 isn't very good.
Right.
Because like, let's say you burst all your chain attacks or burst 3 of your Zenos, or like, 2 out of the 3 of your Zenos or something like that, and then what do you do? Like it's very scary bursting like that because you can lose some of the pieces that you need to win.
That's true. I think he's kind of a last resort slash last attack. Like if they're at 2, they have 1 in rest mode, and it's like kind of low, that sort of thing. And you already did all your plays, and I don't know. I mean, it could be pretty interesting to see like a Broly player use their effect to activate battle effect, and then slap that down, and then use the effect, swing at it, and then see if you can go for game if they're at 2. Because you know they always be trying to kill their own life, but. I only mention this because I have a couple buddies at locals who play Pan. They love Pan. I love Pan, obviously.
It's great.
Yeah, it's just man. And they have like 2 to 3 scientist foos because of Yamcha, in which you burst 5 and then you have that overrealm fodder in order to use scientist foo right after. So I mean, there's a couple concepts for that, but I think for this deck it makes sense not to have it. So I get it, but the other question. Oh, yeah,
I feel like if you're running Yamcha 100%, you're mostly just going for like a burn deck.
Yeah,
and most burn decks, like a burn deck in theory, like, is good, but I think if you're gonna run a burn deck, run it under the Yamcha League because it's just so much better because it can give you attacks in active mode. And in the current meta, I was telling like the guy that I faced in the Pan Mirror in round 1. I don't know if he's watching this, but listen. I told him, or after the game, I told him or if he's running this burn deck, because he was running the Yamcha 100%. He was running the Frost, the 4-drop Frost that makes you take life, or if you just it can just pop anything it attacks.
Yeah.
And then he was running the 6-drop SR Gohan that makes you take life. And so I was just telling him, like, just play this under Yamcha leader because it's so much better. Because you can get the active or the ability to attack active mode cards, and in this meta, like vanilla Goku's, they're setting 1-drops on the field for like 4K or like 4K like power.
Yeah.
Like, so that's like easy. Like, it's easy to make them take their own life in that sense because they either have to negate it and waste their negates on that, or they have to take it or out combo it and waste their hand.
Right. Exactly.
So, yeah.
So I weirdly enough, later this week, it should be up anyway. I was mentioning to do the top 5 decks. There's a clear 4 top, right? In yellow Broly, green Broly, etc., etc. But then there is the 5th spot where I'm not very sure, and that's where kind of all the red leaders are, and that includes Pan, Baby Vegeta, etc., etc., and maybe even Yamcha if someone tries to explore that with all the points that you're making. I think it makes sense. So I think there's some good merit to that, but I'll get to that. But focusing on this, all good, all very good points. Obviously, we have Foreseeing Hand. He's kind of a staple in a lot of red decks, especially this one, drawing card and seeing their hand and warping 2. And then my question is that all you got, and as well as after image technique ratio? So I personally would be doing like 3-2, simply because of Storm, in which if they're doing a mirror, it doesn't stop the attack, and if they have a battery, they have a battery, but if they don't, they can still combo out and try to take for game, right? Since you gain 40, they reduce to 10, etc. And then Nizal you got is really, really good in this meta now because of the Super Shenron decks, because of all these other ones that play out smaller cards or low cost cards, and you can kind of remove them. For those who don't know, you pitch a red card that is, and either the card is red, you minus 15k for 2 battle cards. So tell me more about that. Why these ratios?
So after images, I feel is better because it's obviously it's got the sparking effect that you can take a life for it. And I ran the 1, is that all you got? Because I don't want to see a bunch of extra cards in my hand. So like running a bunch of extra cards and like 10k combos. As you can see, I don't run a lot of 10k combos. I run like, I think 5 total. Yeah. And so is that all you got? Is I don't want to see it a lot. And then I saw it enough actually at just the 1 of like, I saw it quite a bit. And against the Shenron Storm matchup, it's good, but it gets like immediately bad ring because they know that it stops them from doing what they want to do. So like against like a vanilla deck, it's good because like it clears their 1-drops.
Yeah. Which
and
is why I'm running yellow.
Right. And then exactly. So like it's good in that sense. And against, I think in the mirror it's good at the 1-0 because it clears board. And against like Broly Storm, like just the yellow version, it's good even if they might bad ring it or whatever. And then you can bring in the second one in the sideboard if you need to.
Right.
Yeah. So
Okay.
I like that.
Nice. So did it work out for you as far as the sideboard?
Yes.
Okay. That's good. So you saw it enough for it to be effective and to actually do its work or do its job, basically.
Yes.
So that's good. Okay, cool. All right then. And then the sideboard. So another reason or another question: minus Killy Zone in the side instead of the main. Did you feel comfortable with that? Did you not see enough like Broly and Cold Bloodlust leaders for that?
I only saw one Broly leader in singles.
Okay. Did he ever Cold Blast like targets that need to be Cold Blast like Chain Attack and all these other ones?
He Cold Bloodlusted my foreseeing hit in game 1, which I was like, okay, that's fine, because it just stayed on the board. Yeah. And like, okay, and he didn't have much in his hand, so I was like, okay, so you wasted a card just to get, just so I couldn't see your little bit of cards in your hand. And then I think I was able to awaken after that as well, because in that matchup you don't do a whole lot. So I was just like charging, passing, and then so I played the hit. He Cold Bloodlusted it, and I was like, okay, cool, pass, and he didn't do anything to it.
Oh,
so it just sat there.
Sad times for him, huh?
Okay,
well that's good. I mean, if you didn't run into him, then that's fine.
Yeah.
In the side, I'm sure the next 2 games is a lot easier for that anyway, right?
Yeah.
Okay, cool. And then Mercenary Towel for the slug, just like you were saying.
Exactly.
And then to the Kaba, we already kind of explained the Kaba a little bit before. And as well,
just extra aggro. It's just extra aggro.
Right. And then to Haru Haru, which makes sense. Things like, I think the only thing is preemptive and as well as Cold Bloodlust. But did you decide in minus Killy Zone with the Haru Haru as well, or no? Okay, good.
Definitely.
Okay. Good.
There was one play I did, and it was so nasty. I did it against the Broly leader. So yeah. I drew, or on my turn, I drew minus Killy. Immediately, or I charged, immediately played it. And I think, I think this was at the point where the guy had the 8-drop Broly out on field. And so I minus Killy, took 3 out, drew into Haru Haru. And so I chain attacked, or just straight chain attacked into Haru Haru to untap all the way and draw a card. Played Burst Attack Gohan for 3, paid 1, played Banner Shifu, warped his 8-drop Broly, and then I just swung for the fences, and it was a really nasty turn.
That sounds like fun. Okay, well that's nice. That's why Haru Haru is always good to kind of mitigate green and yellow leaders just in that way, especially with minus Killy Zone. Like that's just a crazy combo. So that's good. And then Tien Shinhan, which is crazy in this deck, by the way, because it's a 1 cost against blue and red leaders.
Yep.
So even in the mirror, even though someone playing blue red or something like that, but even then it's still pretty effective because you still get that 1 for 1, and then you get a 20k attacker for that turn, and it's really good against Janemba, which is really the reason why people are kind of leaning away from it, because of Tien.
That card destroys Janemba so bad.
Yeah, it's pretty bad because the Sensu Bean, and as well as Dimension Magic, it's just like super essential, because as soon as they use up their energy, they're tapped out, then you can just kind of go for face and just kill them basically. So yeah, so that's good. That's good that's good. And then the Dimension Vanisher Fu, For the reasons that you were talking about, and then Massain for, I guess, board clear, right?
Yes.
And then Fu, Shroud and Mystery for those longer games / Janemba.
Yeah, mostly I would bring Fu Shrouded in the matchups like Janemba or Blue Gogeta Ramp.
Oh, okay,
because those games tend to go pretty long.
Yeah.
I didn't see it in the stream game that I had, but I pretty much aggroed them pretty early anyway. So
yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Dope. All right. So knowing all this, and 3 double shot. I guess that's the reason why you were saying that is so you don't have that many one costs 10k, right?
Right.
Okay. Yeah. Because usually I play it at 4 because I just want to open with 1. But I guess I can understand the 3. It's enough. But is there anything that you want to change, or anything after the event that you would change?
So after the event, talking in the Discord, a guy made a good point that
join the Discord if you haven't already.
Yeah, join the Discord. It's awesome. Like, just join. We're all super cool. Anyways, so yeah, he made a good point that instead of running Banisher Fu, I could run the 5-drop championship pack Bardock, which does the same thing pretty much, or the same thing I was using it for anyway, where it pops 6 or more, and you only usually bring Dimensional Banisher Fu in against like things like the big baby 8 and the Broly chain. So and it's free. It's a free overwhelm.
It's really good.
So it's really good, and so I thought about bringing that in.
Yeah,
that's like the only thing I think I would change. Maybe another is that all you got in the main. Other than that, I think that's it.
Okay, fair enough. Yeah, I think the championship Bardock is really good. Just a bummer that it's 6 or more. But I think with the Broly decks running around, especially topping twice or winning an event twice, it's gonna be a really good card to watch out for.
I can't wait to get into the matchup breakdowns because it gets funny. We'll yeah.
Okay. Well, before we do that, why'd you pick this deck anyway?
I picked this deck mostly just because I love Pan. I've literally been playing Pan since I started the game back in like late set 2, early set 3. This was like my first deck I ever made, and I finally got all the pieces, and I went to a tournament, and I think I went 2-2 at that tournament. It was my first ever tournament of Dragon Ball. I went 2-2. And I was just in love. I love this deck so much. I love the concept of just aggro and getting to draw and all that stuff. It's just so good. I've been playing it for a long time, so I was gonna play it regardless. But I felt like playing it because it is. I feel like this deck doesn't really have any really bad match. I think the only bad matchups it really has is against Vegeta Baby. Other than that, Super Shenron, if you see your pieces early enough, then you should be fine. So, yeah, that's the only thing. I think this was a good meta call, and it did well for me. So, yeah. Also, I just love Pan. I just gotta reiterate that it's a good deck. Everyone should run Pan always. It's amazing.
Well, good. All right, so you played it because you love it, and I feel like it was the right meta call if you went undefeated.
Yeah.
And so that's good. And so let's go into matchups. So you were saying matchups. Where were theirs?
All right, so round 1, I played against the Pan Mirror. Surprisingly enough, with how much Vanilla Goku there was at the event, it was really weird that I played against the Pan matchup. In round 1, and it was crazy because game 1. I was well ahead, and I was just like aggroing him out, and then he top decked the Frieza SCR, and he slapped that down on me, and I had a negate in hand and a fearless panel board, and it didn't matter. He took my negate and just wiped my board, and he won off of it.
That's a big loss.
Yeah, it was sad. And then game 2, I think I did the same thing back to him. And I played that down and beat him. And then game 3, I think I aggroed him down, and he just couldn't combo out. And I was just taking it. I was just snatching his hand away and like making him waste a lot of his hand for defensive instead of offensive, and it was just good. And so that was a 2-1. Round 2 was Vanilla Goku. I 2-0'd that guy. It was his first tournament, and he was making a lot of mistakes. So,
what was he playing?
It was costing him the game. He was playing Vanilla Goku. He was playing I think yellow version. Yeah, he was playing yellow. Yeah, so he was just making a lot of mistakes. He was nervous, I could tell. So he made that, and I 2-0'd that guy. Then round 3, that was my stream match. I went against Gogeta BR.
Yeah, that was an interesting one, but I think you played out really well. That was the blue Gogeta ramp, and yeah, I think the sequencing for the first game was good, and then he kind of changed it up on the second one.
Dude, that second game was so rough, dude.
Yeah.
Because I had charged my 3-drop Vegeta in my first turn, and so when he plopped that FR Goku down on turn 2, I had nothing to answer it, and then turn 3 he put down the Veku, and so no matter what I did, I could not get the FR Goku out, and then I had only 2 drops and stuff in my hand at the time, I think. So I just had no way to deal with it, and then I couldn't draw into my chains, so I couldn't get anything off the board. It was so bad.
Yeah, that's understandable, but I will say that chain attack versus Veku is a really good counter, and as well as a good answer, because then his effect doesn't go off, and they have to kind of redo everything basically. But that's pretty good. It's pretty good. I think he did well. What was round 4?
Round 4, I went against Mill.
Okay.
I 2-0'd that guy, and like not to sound like a jerk or anything. I didn't have any problem. It was an easy win. But
I'm guessing that one just kind of played out a lot of battle cards, and then
so the thing with like this or Pam versus Mill, like I was saying earlier, you play all your low costs, and they are all 20k, so they have to waste their resources. The thing with that matchup is it's really bad for Janemba, because it's either they use their resources early and don't take life, and then you chain Zeno them, and then they're screwed because they don't have their resources back in hand afterwards, or they take the life early instead of using their resources, and then I chain Zeno them, and then they're low on life, and then they have to risk not getting those resources back. So it's just a really bad if you play it wrong. Some people, I play against my friend that plays Mill all the time, and he's kind of finally learned what to do against it, and even then he still can't beat it.
Makes sense, especially with the TNN in the side.
It's
a draw and a 20k beater, so funny.
Yeah.
What was the next match?
So here's the funny one. So round 5, I played against the guy that ended up winning the whole tournament. And I 2-0'd him.
Okay.
Yeah. So the Broly. Yeah, so I think it was Kevin Martinez.
Oh, okay, yeah. I remember, yeah. Okay.
Yeah, so I 2-0'd him. He was playing Broly BR, and and I know that matchup well enough now, where basically you just don't do anything. You charge pass, and you don't take your own life. You let them take their own life, and you let them do everything, and you just kind of sit there and wait for them to do all their stuff that they're gonna do. You take the life when they swing at you. You hold negates, and you basically just get to like the later part of the game, and then when they get to their like 8-drop finally, you either just chain Zeno them, or if you're in like game 2 or 3, you just banish through them or their 8-drop, or you chain Zeno when they're 8-drops on the field, and then there's just nothing they can do. They have to redo the entire chain again.
And especially with the 1-drop, it's really hard. You would have to Treasured Awakening, which it doesn't go to drop. Or you have to use the 1-drop, which you have to take life. So
yep,
yeah,
so it hurts them a lot. yeah, so I just like when I found out that he ended up winning, it was like, man, I could have won. I just like yeah, it was sad. Then round 6, I went against another vanilla Goku. That one he was playing blue.
Mm-hmm.
So I was at table 1 for this one, and we got deck check. And when they came back, they told my opponent that he had a couple penalties. One, he had an extra card in his sideboard, and 2, he didn't side out his sideboard cards from his last match in the next game, and so he got a game loss. And then we couldn't sideboard, so we went straight into the next game, and this was the game where we got to 8 energy, and I Frieza SCR'd him and killed him.
Yikes!
So that was a 2-0.
That random deck check, huh?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it makes sense. It's the last round, so we want to make sure, or everybody wants to make sure that the people in Top Cut need to be in Top Cut. But cray. And then of course, top 16, Marcus Contarni.
Marcus Cantarsi.
Playing the Super Shenron, right?
Yeah, he played Super Shenron Storm, and game 1 he pounded my face in.
Okay.
Game 2, he went and did the same thing, but I was able to get enough of a board and things to do, like to clear some of his stuff off, and then I got a Fearless Pan on board that he couldn't deal with, and I was able to out combo all of his attacks on his Shenron ultimate turn. And so when he realized he couldn't kill me, and he passed, he pretty much just kind of scooped because he knew he couldn't finish me.
Yeah.
And he was at like 1 life, and he had no cards in hand, so he was like, all right, I'll scoop it. And so the game 3, it went into time. It was so close. Like I kid you not, there was like barely cards or in each other's hands. He went for a big swing, and I was able to out combo it. But because he had another card to swing with, and I was left with a Zeno in my hand, I could not out combo it, and I was sad.
That sucks. How do you, since this is going to be a pretty prevalent deck going forward, how did you deal with that? What do you think about that matchup?
So the unfortunate thing in that matchup, I didn't see a 1-drop Trunks at all. All 3 games. I think I saw it once in the game 1, and I had to combo it. That was the only time I saw a 1-drop Trunks the entire game, or all 3 games.
Yeah.
And that's the only way I think you can really deal with that with this deck, is if you get a 1-drop Trunks, because you can play it on 1, or there, because he went first game 1 and game 3, which is really bad, because they are on the play, and it's sad because they get to get their turn before you, and you have less energy and you cry. But
yeah, definitely want to go first with that deck.
Yeah, so what you want to do is you want to play the 1-drop Trunks on turn 1, on your turn 1, and hope they don't play a Crisis Crusher the next turn, and then you swing with the Trunks in the next turn, and then you chain attack Zeno them, and to deal with their board a little bit in their hand, because they're going to draw a crap ton of cards. And then you can kind of reset and then work your way through, because they won't be able to do what they're gonna do originally. So their whole game plan has changed. But because I didn't get a 1-drop Trunks at all, I couldn't interrupt his play. So he just kind of got to do what he wanted to do. And then I tried to do "Is that all you got?" and he batteringed it, and that was kind of sad. But I had a good time. Marcus is a great person. Like, I was just like joking with him, even though I was losing. I was just laughing and joking with him the whole match, and we were just having a really good time.
That's good. I'm glad. Okay, tight. Okay. I mean, that's pretty much all the matchups. I think, like I said, I think you did well. A lot of variety from what we have been seeing in the previous sets, but a lot of people are leaning towards the stronger decks and the things that are breaking the game a little bit. But as far as the event and everything else like that, did you have a pretty good time?
Oh yeah, I had a blast the whole weekend, except for my teams matches. I don't want to get into that because it tilted me really hard.
Okay.
I got intentionally slow played in our round 2, and I was in my game. I was in my combos to win, and it went into the extra time, and we lost because my my B player lost his match. And so all my opponent needed to do was draw to win that round, and I was yeah, so that was upsetting. But other than that, the weekend was fantastic. We had a really nice Airbnb that we stayed in. The food in Chicago is amazing. If you haven't gone to Chicago before, please go. They got great food, and it's just a really good town to visit. It was cool meeting everybody again. Like I met most of the people at Nats, but some people I didn't get to meet. So I got to meet a bunch of people, and talk to a bunch of people and all that stuff. I got to play against some really good players. Going second in Swiss, undefeated, behind Danny Hype is amazing feeling.
Definitely.
So yeah, just everything about it was just really good.
It sounded really good. I hope to do the same in San Diego, but
yeah, but don't scrub out on me.
Man, we're gonna see. We're definitely gonna see. But yeah, other than that, I think that is all good. Any other closing thoughts?
Not really. Join the Discord. Subscribe to Android if you haven't already.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Just a couple, shout out to my friend Paul and Rob. They were my teammates for teams, and we had been like hanging out a lot and like practicing for like the last like 2 or 3 weeks or so, and it's just been great. They're great to play with. My friend or my teammate Rob actually top 16 with me, so that was good. Shout out to Michigan in general. Like all of us, our whole group did so well. I'm so proud of everybody. It was just great, and I think that's about it. Oh, shout out to Danny for getting first in Swiss. You just barely got over me, but whatever. And I think that's it.
Okay, fair enough. I think overall, very very cool deck. Obviously, I'm glad to be a part of this, and I thank you for doing this. And yeah, man. I give you a lot of shit, but at the end of the day, it's all good. But if anything, just like you were saying, subscribe if you are new, like, dislike, comment below. I know he's gonna answer any questions that you have, and we'll see you in the next one. Say bye, Devon.
All right, bye.